in my circle? Who the one who be the snakes? Who gon' fold up under pressure? Who gon' understand the stakes? Who gon' wait to get their food to try to take from off my plate? Who the love? Who gon' understand I'm hurt? Who gon' love me unconditionally and try and make it work? Who gon' party once I'm gone and shed a tear once I'm in dirt? I ain't asking for too much, I'm trying to understand my worth.
Welcome to the next episode of Give Me My Crown podcast.
Give Me My Crown podcast.
And we back at you with another episode. Once again, my name is Antonio.
My name's Keith.
And as y'all see, we got a guest with us today.
And my name is Tiffany.
It ain't
All right,
just
so
Tiffany. It ain't just Tiffany.
Go.
She my sister-in-law. She my sister.
I'm his sister-in-law, y'all.
Here we go.
All right, Anson, won't you kind of start off telling why we brought Tiffany onto the podcast?
So she is a very talented woman. Like, she's very educated. She has a lot of roles. She's a wife. She's a mother. She's a teacher. She's a professor. And she's also a business owner. She owns her own graphic design business. And I'll let her go into like her daily schedule. I know it's like hectic with everything that she does.
First of all, before we do that, she is the one that made this fire logo.
Yes.
So she is the one behind the Give Me My Crown logo.
Yes.
All right, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
You're fine. Well, my daily schedule, like Keith said, is very hectic. It starts early in the morning and it ends late at night. I'm the first one up, and sometimes I'm the last one to go to sleep. But like he said, I'm a graphic designer. I'm a teacher by day. I teach at the community college here. I'm a teacher by day, and I'm a graphic designer at night. On top of all that, like I said, we're trying to get my business going. I own a graphic design business, which is Vrtwous Designs, LLC, which you can find me on Facebook under Vrtwous Designs. Also at www.vrtwousdesigns.com. But with all of that, I'm still a wife and a mother, and I'm very active in my church and still active in the community. So yeah, my daily schedule is very hectic, very hectic.
Okay. So let's dive into your road to becoming a professor, Tiffany. Can you talk about like how you got to, I know personally you went to school full time. What made you make the switch from what you were doing to decide you were going to do this full time?
To be honest, the choice, I'm just going to be honest with you, the choice was not mine. If I would have had to make the choice, I would still be where I was because I was comfortable where I was. I had worked in the medical field 18 years. I was comfortable. I started off as a medical receptionist. I moved from that to be an insurance analyst. So I'm the one that the people did not like because I sent them a bill. I'm the person that they didn't like. But I billed insurance. We did insurance claims. I did all that. And I did that for 18 years. Something happened one day. It was my word against theirs. And after 18 years, they let me go for something that was not even my fault. Even down to when they were saying, I could say, well, no, I didn't do that because of this. But they were still saying, well, we feel like it's best, to let you go, blah, 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 whatever. But honestly, my husband and I we have been talking about, I wanted to go back to school. And we've been talking about me going back to school. And even like we had talked to Anson about me wanting to go back to school. I want to do this. I want to do this. But then we had our son. So I'm like, I'm definitely not going to school because we got a baby. We got to have two incomes now. But it's crazy because it's when God is pulling you to do something, and when you don't move when he wants you to move, in my instance, I feel like he kicked me off the ledge. I stood on this ledge for so long, looking over it, trying to figure out how I'm going to fly off this ledge. But when I tell you he kicked me hard. He kicked me real hard. So after I lost my job that day, my husband had to pick me up. He was coming to get me, and I was calm. I was good. Calm. I said, you know what? I'm a thug. I'm gonna be a thug about this. I'm gonna get in the car and I'm just gonna let him know that this happened. I got in the car. He asked me what was wrong. I broke down, started crying. And I told him I lost my job. And I told him what happened, and he was just as calm. And like I said, he might have been spazzing on the inside, but he was just as calm. And he told me, he said, "Well, babe, we'll be all right." I kid you, for 2 weeks straight, I cried almost every day. And we were sitting at the table and we were talking, trying to figure, because I had been putting in applications, and because I've always worked for the past 20 some years, I've always had a job. So I've always worked. I've never been a time where I'm not working, and I'm used to working. I want to contribute. I want to help you pay bills. I want to be able to buy me something if I want to buy me something. But we sat at the table and we were talking. He said, "Babe, won't you just go back to school?" And I was like, "Cause boo, we got bills. We got a son." At the time he was working, he had a good job, and I'm like, it's gonna be stressful for you. I kid you not. Sitting at that table, almost $600 hit my Cash App from clients that I had. And the message that came through the Cash App was, "Just because I believe in you." These people had no idea I had lost my job. None whatsoever. So we decided from there for me to go to school. I went to school. I graduated. All the time doing virtual designs on the side, whatever comes in, I'm still trying to help do, whatever we can do. And when I graduated, the lady that was my teacher, she contacted me in December and asked me would I want to come back and teach as an adjunct. An adjunct is part-time faculty. She asked me that I want to teach part-time. I was ecstatic because I was like, yes. Went back to start teaching part-time, went through the spring semester, the summer semester. The fall semester of the next year, I'm getting prepared for my next fall semester. I haven't heard from her. Come to find out, she had a stroke. When she had the stroke, I had to pick up all of her classes. So I picked up like 7 classes to teach, but that helped me get my foot in the door to being hired full time. So right now I am going into, I think this is my 4th year of teaching. And for the spring, my roster is once again 7 classes. But I often tell people, I said, this isn't anything that I done. I can't take the credit for none of this. Yes, I went to school. Yes, I put the work in. But I got to say, God did all of this. I can't sit here and tell you all that I did this and I did, because I did work. But I was the person that was like, God, I can't do this. I am in my 40s and I'm sitting in the classroom with these kids that are like 19 and 20 years. I'm old enough to be their mama. So I'm just like, God, I can't do this. And his words to me was, you go and I'll do the rest. And I'm going to tell you, I went kicking and screaming. I went crying many nights, wearing my husband to death because I'm like, I can't do this. I need to go to work. I want to do this and I want to do that. And I can tell you, I tore his nerves up. I tore them up. But now looking at the end result, to seeing where I am now, and from the job I come from, I make 3 times more than what I was. So that's why I say, me stepping into that role, it was an absolute blessing. I had nothing to do with that. But I love what I do. I love getting to see new students. I love being able to teach because I'm teaching what I love to do. I'm a graphic designer, so I get to teach somebody else how to be what I am. So for me, that's fun. So I'm stop talking so I can talk about it all day. So I'm gonna stop talking.
So did you go to when you went back to school, did you go to school to teach or did you go to school for graphic design? Or
No,
both?
I went to school to, I'm gonna tell you the truth. The only reason why I went to school was to learn the programs.
Okay.
Because I went to school to learn the Adobe Creative Suite to keep up with my
Okay.
competition. I went to school to learn to be able to start to flourish my business. I didn't go to school to be somebody's teacher. Me being the teacher was totally in a plan that God had said that I had no idea about.
Okay.
I went because everybody is using what is Canva. They're using
Yeah.
Canva. They're using like Procreate, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. GIMP, a lot of them, it's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to use, that's fine. But in the profession that I'm in, and the profession that I'm trying to go in and stay in this lane, most professionals learn Adobe Creative Suite. And that's from
Okay.
Photoshop, Adobe, Illustrator, Premiere, Animate. That's all of those. So I went to school just to learn those, then to come back and try to flourish my business. I had no idea about going in to be a teacher.
Okay.
None
So,
whatsoever.
so you kind of knew the graphic design, knew how to do it before you went to school, and you just went to school to learn or to get that extra knowledge to learn those programs.
Yes, to get, in other words, to get the paper behind my name, because I
Okay.
had been doing graphics years before. Honestly, I have been doing graphics. It's probably, we're looking at probably about 13 years
Oh
now.
wow.
I started in using Microsoft Word
Hmm.
and PowerPoint. I manipulated Word and PowerPoint, transferring graphics from one program to another to do what I needed it to do, and
Okay.
then looking up and finding PNGs and editing the PNGs in Word and PowerPoint to do what I need to do. But in this industry, when I realized Photoshop was what I needed, and I tried it, and I was like, no, I can't do this. But YouTube would teach you anything. So
That's
as I
true.
began to look, if it was some, I was like, okay, how do I do this? I'd YouTube it, and it would walk me through the processes. But like I said, in order to be able to stand alone and say I am an actual graphic designer, I need that paper behind my name. So that was the
Makes
basis of
sense.
me going to school, not to teach, but to just help to flourish my business.
Okay.
With going to school, did you see the quality of your graphic designs get better with what you were
I
learning
did.
in school?
I did. It just so happened, other than, on Facebook, you have where memories pop up. A flyer popped up from like 10 years ago, and I compared it from now to then, and you can see a total difference. It is an absolute total difference. You can see the growth in where I was to where I am now. It almost shocked me. I was like, oh, now Tiffany, that was a mess. But compared to now, I said, that's a mess. But it's like at the time I was just excited because I'm like, oh, this looks good, And I started doing graphics for our church. And so, like I said, we have a pastor that, if he believes, when I tell you he can believe you can do it, he's gonna put everything he can into you to push you that you can do it. So me, I'm just like, this look a mess, Pastor. This is a mess. But as I begin to do more and more, I could see the growth. So now there are times I go back and look from years prior up to now to see, how far I've come. So yeah, going to school was an absolute plus.
That's cool.
So what's next, Tiffany? Like, you got your business. I know you're working on other stuff. Can you tell the people what's next?
What's next? Honestly, I'm gonna tell you what's next is to put Vrtwous Designs actually in a brick and mortar. Right now, I am just doing things like with clients, via email and stuff like that. But my dream is to actually have Vrtwous Designs in a building. I want to do some printing, but not a lot of printing, because when you get into printing, you get into more expenditures, because I'm getting into the cost of machines,
Mhm.
ink, paper, all the substrates and everything that I need, because one printer can cost me $26,000. The one that I
Right.
want going to cost me 26,000. So I'm just like, listen, I need to be put a steering wheel and some tires on this and drive this for 26,000. But it's worth it. When I'm looking at it, it's worth it. And if I build the clientele, it'll pay for itself. It'll actually
Okay.
pay for itself. But my dream is to have like a firm of designers, like a law
Okay.
firm. Like when you come in, I got a row of designers that I may have one that specializes in flyers, one that specializes in invitation, business cards, somebody that specializes in branding. But then you have myself that can do it all. But I don't have to do it all. I would just like to have a firm, like a law firm, where it's just a group of designers. And if somebody comes in and says, "Hey, I'm starting a business. I need you to create me a brand toolkit." Okay, good. I could send you, go to office 231, and I'm gonna let you talk with Michelle. She can take you from A to Z with that.
Okay.
So even down to like consulting and stuff like that, I want to be able to do all that.
I think that's good. I think that takes by having a firm, I think that will take a lot of stress off of you, and it'll allow you to critique others' work to kind of to give you that I guess to make you better too. Because if you can look at somebody else's work, and say, okay, I would have did this different, or I would have did this different, or I like the way they did that. I would not have thought of that. That's a good
Right,
idea.
right. And it's like with other designers, we glean, well, we glean from each other,
Yeah,
because I may see something one way, but then someone else may see it another way. Like with my students, some of my students that come in are fabulous. Like me, I cannot draw. When it comes to illustration, I can draw you a stick man, put it in animate, and make it run. But as for actually drawing, I'm not an illustrator, but I have students that come in and they are fabulous. I mean, absolutely fabulous. So you have different designers that their strengths are in different areas. Like me, my thing is I love to do flyers, but I do more logos than I do flyers. But my niche are flyers. Now, see, I
okay,
can do flyers all day, every day. If you need me to do a logo, I can. But my niche is flyers. So you have a different thing that's yours. But if my thing is flyers, your thing is logos, somebody else's thing is business cards, all of us together will make a whole, and
yeah,
everybody
that
will
makes
still
sense.
benefit. But that the hard part is just getting everybody to work together. Not always somebody gotta be the boss, but everybody can't be the boss. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Because, like you said, it's almost like a law firm. If you got a whole law firm, you got somebody that specializes in criminal cases. You got somebody
Right,
else that specializes in another type of criminal case. You might have
right.
somebody that does civil cases. Like, so that definitely makes sense as far as how everybody can then work together, and
Mhm.
you can help your clients in a better way that way too. It seems like
Right. And we'll do them a better service.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
So that's my opinion. I think we'll do them a better service if I have more than one person dropping in ideas.
yep, and
Because
that keeps them coming back also.
mine, I may not have the best idea.
Yeah,
You know, she may have the best idea. Okay, it's fine. As long as it sells and the client is happy, we're gonna go with your idea.
Yeah.
yep. Because that keeps them coming back, and a lot of business nowadays comes from referrals.
It does. And that's where a lot of my business have come from. I would have to probably say 75% of my clients either come on Facebook, where they found me on Facebook, or they come from someone that I have done work for and they referred them to me.
Okay.
So I have to make sure that whatever service I give out to the previous client, they get the same treatment. So
Yeah,
when they
that makes
go back,
sense.
they can actually say, you know what, you were exactly right. Because word of
Yep.
mouth can either make you or break you.
That's true.
Yes, definitely.
So for me, a lot of my clients are referrals.
Okay.
As far as education, are you comfortable where you at, or do you want to go further in getting your education?
I'm going further.
Okay.
So I can say that I am going further. As of right now, because I'm not even done with my bachelor's. So
Okay.
right now, the goal is to finish my bachelor's, and we're gonna think about the master's. I would love to have the master's, but let me get my bachelor's,
Okay.
and then, like I said, I think we're gonna regroup, and kind of like I said, sit down with my husband, talk with the plan, because like we got plans for us for him, well, what he wants to do, because I don't want him to put what he wants to do on the back burner because this is what I'm doing.
Okay.
So let me get my bachelor's, and we're gonna see what happens after that.
Being a
And
mother.
I do.
Go ahead, Sonny.
Oh, go ahead. You got
No,
it. Go ahead.
go ahead.
Now I was gonna say for a logo for logos not to be your specialty. So far, the logos I've seen you do are some of the best that like I've seen. Because for one, our logo, the Give Me My Crown logo, you did a logo for my financial coaching business, AE Financial Coaching. I told you, I
Oh,
said, hey,
yeah,
this is the colors I want, and huh?
I said that was yours. I forgot.
Yes, because I was like, hey, this is the colors I want, and you put it all together and send it back. I'm like, yo, this is perfect. I didn't say what I want. I just said, hey, this is the colors I want, and send it back. It was perfect. So for that not to be your specialty, you're pretty good at it.
And
For it
see, and
not
I
to be your
love to
specialty.
do them. You know, I love to design logos, and it's crazy. There are some things like as take for instance with you all Give Me My Crown. When Anson first mentioned it to me, I thought about it, and when he mentioned it, I saw it. It's
Okay.
crazy because a lot of designers they have to sketch first. I don't.
Yeah.
I for some reason I just can't. One because I can't draw, so it wouldn't do any good. But a lot of them they have to sketch or plan first, and that's the way I teach my students. I'm not that type of designer, so I can't tell you that you need to do this, this, and this first. I am the type of designer I see it, and then I have to sit back and say, okay, how am I going to do this? And that's the way it has always been. I'll see it in my head, and just like with you all's logo, that give micro, I saw that microphone with that crown. I was like, how am I gonna fix this? How am I gonna do this? So I started playing around and playing around with there it is. But it's like I see it, and a lot of times I have to stop. I could be in the middle of another project for a client because that's what happened with you all. I was in the middle, I was working on another project for another client. I saw your logo in my head. I had to stop what I was doing, flip to yours, do
Wow.
yours, and then I went back to theirs because it's in my I gotta get it out my head. And it's crazy, but it plagues my brain until I figured out how to do it and get it out. So when I first sent it, I said, I don't know if they're gonna like this or not. I'm nervous. I'm always nervous until the client sees it. I'm always nervous. So that one was like that's I was like, okay, now I can go back to this one right here. But it's crazy. Like I see it. I love to do logos because I like the creativity it causes,
Yeah.
and it makes my creative wheels work harder. That's one
Makes
thing about
sense.
it, it makes me work harder, and that I like because it helps me increase my skill set.
Okay.
And so you've been creating stuff for me for a long time. I know you don't miss. So anytime I'm talking about graphic design, I'm like, listen, she don't miss. It's gonna be perfect, you know. So I'm going to sell it to anybody I talk to, you know. I remember
I
we were going
appreciate.
through our logo. We were trying to come up with stuff. Look, my sister-in-law got us. And he was like, "You sure?" I'm like, "She got us," you know.
Now I'm gonna tell you, there have been times that I have missed. You know, it have been times, and a lot of times is that's why I tell the client, like when we were talking about your logo, and you have to almost say, "Tell me the colors you want," and I always tell them, "Tell me the colors you want, and if there are specific graphics that you want to include, because all of that's important." And so that's what said. Actually, you made it easy for me by telling me all the graphics you want and the colors. That's a done deal. That's not hard at all. The hard part comes in is when they don't know what they want, and you
Uh,
tell me to just come up with something. Then I come up with something. You say, "Well, no, that's not quite it." But you told me you didn't know what you wanted, so how do you know?
exactly.
Yeah, there are times that it comes up, but like I said, we go back to the drawing board and we'll fix it, and at the end we get it done.
So creative genes. Being a mother, do you try to like put some of this into Sebastian, or do you not? You hold off and let him get a little older first.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't,
Okay.
and I should.
Okay.
I will tell you that. I will take that fault on myself, because there are times he'll come and say, Mama, can I help you? Mama, let me do it. Now, we were doing something, I think we were doing a flyer or something one time, and I let him click and move the pictures. I was like, no, click right here, boo boo. I said, all right, just hit the delete. I let him do a little bit, but I don't let him do enough. And that is a fault of mine, and that is something I need to do better about, because I don't know what he's going to take to. If he grows up and he decides he wants to be a graphic designer, he don't know anything about it because mama didn't let him do anything. So that is something that I need to work on. My issue is because when I get into a design lane, I don't see anybody else. I'm in a mode, and that's where I'm locked into.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm locked into it for hours, and hours. And a lot of my designing is done late at night. Sometimes when everybody goes to sleep, sometimes I'm up, or if I wake up over in the night and I'm thinking about something, I say, you know what? Let me go on and work on this now. I'll work on it for a couple of hours and then I go back to sleep. But I got to do better about that, because, like I said, if this is something that I would like to be ongoing, and even after I'm gone, if this is established like I would like for it to be, even if he's not going to run it, if me and his dad has gone off the scene and it's just him, even if he's not going to run it, it's still going to be his.
Okay.
But if I don't let him see anything about it now, he'll have no interest in it. So he's not going to care what happens to mama's business, because mama never let me have any interest in it anyway. So that is one thing I am going to do better about.
Makes sense. You got any more questions, Anderson?
I do not. I think Tiffany talked a good amount, and she did very well on this podcast.
Okay, well, thank
Yes.
you so much.
And it's like you said, is we thank you for the logo. I know some of our videos, we have your email address at the end, so if people want to get in contact with you, they know
Absolutely.
how.
Absolutely.
Because like I said, the all the logos I've seen, first try they've been perfect. I think with my
Thank you.
logo, when you sent it to me, I'm like, yeah, that's it. Even with this logo, I'm like, Anson hit me up. He was like, yo, check out the logo. I'm like, yeah, that's it. So it's
And I
like,
think, and people are like that, and I tell us, you know what? Take some time, take a couple of days, and think about it.
yeah, because I know you told me that with mine. You said take a couple of days. And I looked, I'm like, I don't need a couple of days. Like this it.
And see, I'm gonna tell you the reason why I do that is because I'll tell them take a couple of days and think about it. Because, like I said, everything, being a business owner, you learn lessons.
Yes.
You learn lessons along the way. Um, because once we do that final proof, and you tell me this is what we're going with, I'm going to convert the files to where they're usable, and I'm going to send them to you. So when I send
Yeah.
them to you, it's at least, I think it's like 3 or 4 files I'm going to send to you. If when you come back to me after I've converted those files that you want to change something, that's
Yeah.
$20 an edit.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And I try to be as lenient as possible. My husband's he a business major, and he killing me. He killing me real bad about stuff. Because I'm a real soft-hearted person. I'm real soft-hearted. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go on and do this edit. And he'll tell me, he said, no. Is it after they approved the proof? And I was like, well, yeah. No. He said, you charged them for that. So I'm real soft hearted. So now I try to tell my clients, listen, take a couple of days and think about this
Yeah.
before we make this. But most of the time, 9 times out of 10, we're good. I've just had a couple of incidents where we had to go back, and fix things, and I try to get them to see the difference between a revision and an edit. An edit is just like if you all had to come back and say, hey, can you make the crown black? A revision, if you come back and you say, well, no, I really would like for crown to be cursive, and I want you to put the microphone on the stand. No, we almost remaking the whole file by the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to teach people the difference, when it comes to graphic design. And a lot of times people feel like all we do is color. You feel like all we do is color, make pictures. But Most graphic designers start at least $25 to $30 an hour. And that's
Yeah.
on the low end. That's the low end. That's somebody that's freelancing. That's someone who does not have an education behind them. So now with an education behind them, you're paying almost $45 to $50 an hour. But to some people, they feel like that's not a lot. But you don't see what it takes for us to create the logo that's on your shirt.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You know, a lot of people don't see that. So that's what I love what I do, but it's a whole lot to it. It's a whole lot.
Makes sense.
You got to have a passion and a love for this.
Definitely. All
So
right, you got anything else, Nancy?
I'll say this. This is a funny story. Tonyo, she said she cannot draw. So one day we were having a conversation. I look at my brother, I was like, hey man, you've been drawing our whole life. And she did not know he could draw.
Know it.
And he was like, yeah, man, I just stopped drawing. I'm like, and she's like,
Wow.
I want to draw, but I don't know how. And he's like, yeah, I can draw. I just don't do it. Yeah.
And
Dang.
and listen, the even funnier part is that he is in my class for the spring.
Wow.
He is
That's
taking
funny.
he is taking 2 of my classes for the spring semester. So we do a thing in my class to introduce the students to each other called 2 Truths and a Lie. So I told him, we scratching that. We're not doing that. We are not doing that in our spring. So why? One of mine is going to be, well, I'm married to the teacher. No, we're not doing that. We are not doing that. And Anson know his brother. He will do it.
He definitely will.
Do it. He will do it. So good thing, like I said, hopefully if he take the 2 classes he's taking, he'll be able to design.
That's good.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll kind of build on all this and try to, get it off the ground.
Yeah.
That's good.
Look, we definitely will have you back on at some point, Tiffany, and we look forward to doing more business with you as well.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna steal Tonyo's line. So you know what we gotta do.
So as we always say before we get off of every podcast, this is more than a podcast. We handing out crowns.
We gotta hand Tiffany a crown.
Yep, she getting the crown today.
Yep. Yeah.
So once again, thank you for the logos. Thank you for hopping on the podcast. Like Anson said, we definitely gonna get you back on here, and maybe in a couple months, just kind of see how your business have grown from this point until then.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
My pleasure. Absolutely.
All right, thank you. And once again, as we always say, this is more than a podcast. We handing out crowns.
Hand them out.
Hand them out.
Who the lover, who the hate? Who the realest in my circle? Who the one who be the snakes? Who gon' fold up under pressure? Who gon' understand the stakes? Who gon' wait to get they food to try to take from off my plate? Who the love? Who gon' understand I'm hurt? Who gon' love me unconditionally and try and make it work? Who gon' party once I'm gone and shed a tear once I'm in dirt? I ain't asking for too much, I'm